I rode into your car. Does that make any sense? You work on the campus and you think you was just going to get away by driving away and you hit a student on the campus? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So you already see the title, you already know what we're getting into, so let's get into it. Two things before we start. One, I just got these put in, so please excuse the talking. And two, I never told a story time on my channel before. This is gonna be the first time, so I'm assuming I just talked to Uno like I would have talked to my friend them. Alright, so boom. First off, this was back in December, right? December. Night time is like 6:20, 6:25, 6:30. Now this is on a college campus, right? So on a college campus, students have the right of way because there's like 30,000 kids and you're supposed to just be paying attention, right? Because students crossing all the time, students going to classes, all this other stuff, right? So boom, this is the road, right? Let's pretend this is the road. This is the road. So the cars driving like this and students cross like this. So basically the car drives so we walk across. Fine. So now I ride my bike around campus because the campus is huge, right? So if you don't have a car, and even when you have a car, you have to park here and you have to park there, and then you have the blue green parking, and then it's one fiasco. So if you ride a bike or you have a, why am I nervous? If you ride a bike or if you have a skateboard, it works out best for you because you can get there in 2 minutes. Now I ride a bike because listen, riding a bike, point tip, riding a bike, one, it make you still have exercise and tone up, and two, you get to class in like 2 minutes. When I tell you I zoop into class, 2 minutes. Anyway, keep that. It's 6:30 and I'm on my way to a modeling rehearsal, right? I have my heels in my backpack and I'm riding to where we're going because it's in one of the buildings. Anyway, I ride all around campus. I know every stop, I know everything. There's this major road. Well, the entire campus is a major road. Anyways, there's this major part where because the parking garage is here and like the entire building is on this side, so people are always crossing. So guess what? When people are always crossing, that means they need to be paying attention, right? Right. Anyways, boom. So I'm on the way and I'm riding, and myself on the bike, another pedestrian, and like other people behind us. So now we get the signal to walk, we get the signal to ride. It said we must go, pedestrians must go. So I'm riding. Bear in mind, it's a short distance between because there's only 2 lanes of road, lol, 2 lanes of cars on each side. So you're not crossing 4 lanes. So the something said pedestrians must go. Now I'm going to be the furthest out, or I'm going to be going the fastest, or I'm going to reach the other side the quickest because everybody is walking. So I'm riding and I'm going across slowly now, and I see the first car on the opposite side stop, right? So remember I said yeah, there's 4 lanes of traffic. I'm on, let's say I'm on this side, right? And I'm crossing. Now these, let's just pretend these two go in the opposite direction, right? So we see them, boom, and now this car, can you guys see? And now this car stop. And there's a line behind this car, and I'm like, okay, one car stop, and I'm like, so why this car don't stop it? Is there any car? Anyway, boom. So I'm riding, only to see another car coming, and I can glimpse it. I'm like, wait, did that car not look like it's stopping in and going at a certain speed? What? I am, bear in mind, I was just barely going across. I wasn't riding enough fast because the light just changed. I'm just barely cruising along, and well, not even cruising, but I'm going at a moderate speed. I'm not like zooming across, I'm going at a moderate speed, right? And I just see a car coming to me, and I'm like, this car looks like it's not going to stop. And so by this time now, I'm screaming, and the car crashed into me, right? So I'm like, what the hell just happened? So the car crashed into me, I scream, I'm over the hood of the car, and then boom, I'm off the hood of the car, and then the car drive and stop. So now picture, I am just in the middle of the road, pedestrians behind me, the car just hit me, my bicycle is like beside the car now, and I'm on the floor, just on the floor, right? Now I did kind of save myself a little and use my hands, but my knee and my body just, first of all, this is the car, this is me on the bike, and this is the car, boom, duh, and I'm on the floor. So now I'm like, bear in mind, I was on my way to modeling rehearsal. Now there's a big scene because somebody just crashed into a student. There's other pedestrians, there's the cars that were stopping. Bear in mind, I said there was one car that stopped at that stop where we're supposed to be crossing, you know, so clearly that means the next person fault. Anyway, we don't reach there yet. So boom, I'm up now, and I'm like, adrenaline is rushing. When I tell you adrenaline is rushing, even right now, all of the memories, everything is just coming back to me right now, right? Anyway, so I'm like, oh my god, are my legs broken? Am I alive? Am I okay? Anything damaged? And everything is processing through my head. My heart is beating. I'm like, bro, I got hit by a car. Now I've always had a slight fear of accidents because I know people have died in accidents, or I know persons who have been driving properly and still get in an accident because somebody else drunk or somebody else doing something dumb, and the person was driving properly, driving fine, is the person that like gets hurt or dies or something. So I always have that in me. I'd always pray before, because you need to be praying, but I always like try to pay attention and zone in. So I'm like, me of all people, we're afraid of them something here already, and I'm riding a bike to get hit. But this is on a college campus now, you know, this is on a college campus, right? Boom. Right, so now I'm like, okay, am I hurt? What is happening? What is going on? So now there's lights everywhere. I'm in the middle of the road. There's one big scene, all these people, whatever. So automatically I get back up, because like, one, this is a lot of tension, two, I'm supposed to be on my way to somewhere, and like, so I get back up and I'm brushing off myself now, not even really fully focusing what's happening. When you get hit by a car, you need to be paying attention to everything, because you can have internal issues, you can have like all this other stuff. So I get up now and I'm like, oh my god. I'm looking at my bike is on the floor, I'm looking at my knee, and this is what I see. Blood warning, it's just a cut, but blood warning. So this is my knee, right? This right here, so it's how my knee sits up. So that was the one cut, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm not even paying attention to that, but that was the cut on my knee. So I get up now, I brush myself off, and I'm walking to the side of the road. I pick up my bike, still in shock, and I'm waddling with the bike over there. So then now the lady came onto the car. She came onto the car and she come to me. Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Now listen, as somebody who just had an accident, I don't know about anybody else. For me, I'm trying to get out of there, and I'm not trying to overcompensate, but I'm just trying to get out of this whole scene already, right? So I'm like, I'm okay, kinda, I'm okay, right? I will come to the side of the wall. Now other people are now getting around me. Are you okay? Are you fine? Da, 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 da. And I put on the bike beside me. So now this is a picture of the bike. So that's the picture of the bike, right? So now I'm like, oh my god, brushing up myself. Everything's still going 5,000 million miles a minute, right? Then the most shocking part of this entire thing, the lady's gonna say to me,
I rode into her car.
I rode into her car. Me, little bite man, me, I only weigh like 125 pounds. Me, little girl, I go ride into my, like she wants to say it's my fault. Like she wants to say it's my fault. Like I rode into her car. So listen, after that, my head chip. After that, I was just, well, so now certain things I try to make sure that I talk in, I wouldn't say proper English, but I try to talk straightforward, and I try not to put any patter in it, right? Pay that in mind. So when she said that, no, I was just like, excuse me? So me said, miss, I rode into your car. So at this point, I don't remember if I was yelling, but I was like, I rode into your car, I rode into your car. There is a speed bump that says you need to be stopping. The other lane beside you stopped. Why didn't you not stop? Why are you going that fast? There's a thing, there's a little speed monitor thingy that says how fast you're going. It tells you right below what it's supposed to be and what you have. Off rip, I know she was going faster than she's supposed to, right? 4, there's a stop sign. So what that is, another sign that you need to be paying attention to, which means you need to stop, right? Number 5, there is a literal pedestrian crossing sign that diamond, and it has the person walking on it. And because it's at night, and my school kind of fancy, I don't know if other schools do it, there is a light around it. I also forgot to mention number 6. There's an automated voice on the pedestrian crossing that signals pedestrians to cross, and it literally says, walking now, pedestrians crossing, loud and clear. When she said that, no, I'm like, I said all of those things to her, and I'm like, what do you mean I rode into your car? Does that make any sense? No, I think I said it in proper English, but when I told my mommy, she said she know for a fact I was saying, I was like cussing her off in patois or whatever. I don't use this anyway. So after she said that, no, she realized that, like, yeah, what all of the things, you had five different things to pay attention to show you that you need to be stopping in the car. So after I said that, no, there's still people like around, like, are you okay? So after that, no, so by this point I'm definitely already bawling because my body was in pain and I never even really know it yet. 2, I was bawling because I was on like traumatic shock. 3, I was so upset as to how she could have really in her mind think that I could have ridden into her car, right? So now I'm crying, but I'm still making her points across, right? So now she getting flustered and she and then somebody around us, because you know people was around there, was like, oh, I think you should go, or I think you should go. Like they were saying it to her. I don't know who she was saying it to, but they said it out loud, right? What? Hear what the lady do. The lady, after the person said that, I guess she was also flustered too, which she should be, of course, but still she was flustered, and she hopped in her car and drove away. Drove away. So now okay, push pause. So at that time I used to work at a position where I was at the front desk, and because it was under like a security type of community, it was called a community service officer. It was under like the PD department, police department of the college or the university. So because of that, I had learned that like when you're describing things or people, you need to have everything done, like what they look like, the color of the shirt, the type of car, the everything, right? So now right at this point, my expertise from that just clicking. So when I see her walking away and I start heading to her car, I'm like, the license plate is E. This is in my phone now because everybody's realizing that she's driving away. In my phone I'm like, license plate E. The car is dark. When I tell you I got down every single detail before she drive away and she did hop in her fat car kind of quick. People beside me was like, oh, it's a, let's say it's a BMW, and I'm like, okay, then I describe her. So now bear in mind, when she only came up for a small amount of time, but I did glimpse her, and as I said, I was paying attention. So I'm like, oh, she's Caucasian or white looking female. She has her hair in a bob, it's a blonde hair, she looks like maybe 60-65. She was wearing, when I tell you that I want everything, bear in mind I was processing all that information in my head while I was still like shocked, and at that point I didn't even know I had like pains and all of that stuff ready because I was just on go. Anyway, so I get on all of that information from her now. And the person beside, the pedestrian beside me, I get on her email and her whatever. She's like, oh, if you need me to testify for whatever, I saw the whole thing. I was on the pedestrian crossing with this. So I'm like, okay, but when I tell you I'm writing on everything, right? Fine. So by this point now, she gone off, she drive off. I have the busted bike drawn over into the middle, and the scene is kind of separating. So now somebody in the crowd was like, oh, you should call the police. So now it never even clicked in my mind to call the police. I was just everything was just all over the place. So when she said that, no, I'm like, boom. No, remember I said I used to work with the PD department, so I had the phone on speed dial. So I'm like, police for the university, right? Boom. So now bear in mind, so because of that expertise, I'm like, hi, I'm standing on the corner of 75A, right in front of the library, and I'm standing right on the second pedestrian crossing. I'm standing on the left side. When I tell you I was telling everything, bear in mind I'm still in the shock. So they're like, I was like, hey, I was just hit by a bike, boom bang bang, them carry somebody. So now them carry the police now, and I catch up the bike somewhere, and I'm just sitting there like shaking and crying, and it was just so bad, right? So now the police come and explain the entire thing. I have all information, everything. When I gave them the license plates, and I gave them the type of car, and I gave them what the person looked like, baby, tell me why I work at the university, sweetie. Tell me why I got the description correct to the T. I got the age description correct to the T. When I tell you, they could just pull T in the license plate information and bring up her entire thing, her entire profile, where she worked, what's her position at the university, what department she's in, the car, the type of car, what she looks like, everything. Sweetie, if you work on the you work on the campus, and you think you was just gonna get away by driving away, and you hit a student on the campus, she look, you say it wasn't in a university vehicle, because boy was I going to just draw them out for the money. Anyway, boom. So within 2 minutes, my man said, this is her name, whatever, right? Fine. And so they were like, okay, how are you, are you okay? At this point I was still sitting on the ground, and they were like, okay, well, do you need anything, do you need any assistance, any issues? And I'm like, okay, I feel fine, I'm not sure, whatever. And I showed them the few cuts everywhere, and like some things had broken in my bag, and they were like, are you sure? At that point I'm like, no, do I want to take an ambulance ride? Now let me tell you something, ambulance rides are expensive, and I wasn't sure if I had healthcare at that time or if it did cover that. So I'm like, no, I don't want the ambulance, I'll be fine. I don't want to go to the hospital, I'll be fine, because that's a whole other bill, and these people would just rack you up on bills. And it's very interesting to think that like you have to think about the fact that you're gonna spend thousands of dollars just to go and make sure you're okay or whatever. Anyway, but I was just thinking of like all the money that I would have had to spend. Anyway, they're like, you sure? I think you should go, I think you should check. Now me being a bio student, I'm like, you know what, it's true, I really should get a checkup, because things can go wrong during an accident, and the way I was flung, anything could have been damaged within me. Thank God nothing happened that bad, right? So I'm like, oh god, fine. So the ambulance people come now, and them give me the checkup, and they check my head, and they ask me a few questions, and I answer them, and I'm still like in a daze. I check my blood pressure, they check one bag or something. And they were like, okay, are you sure you want to go to the hospital? So I said, no, I don't want to go. But they were like, okay, here's the card, here's the information. Anyway, them leave. Oh, so when the ambulance come now, one big scene. Oh, I hate it. It was just so, yeah, the 2 police car come. I have to tell the story twice. then you see this big ambulance something, and then you see a little girl just sit down on the side, just sit down right there, and a bike bent up. Like it was one big scene. And this is like one of the major areas of the university, so everybody's passing. Same time, people that I'm going to the modeling rehearsal with was walking past and looking at me like, oh my god, is she okay, whatever. I wasn't going to say anything then because honey, too much going on, whatever. So we continue now, and like the police come and I'm fine. I'm like, they're like, well, here's information, whatever. So now everything done, they're going to file a report. They have all my information because this is a university. They could just pull up everything for me, pull up everything for her. They get all the information, and the policeman was like, okay, do you want me to put this back somewhere or whatever, because the insurance people, well, I didn't know this, but later on insurance people was going to come and check it out, right? So me just in pain, not even really registering all the things that's happening, and then drag the bike with it bent up self all the way over to the another bike park and lock it, and then walk me back over, and him ask me like, are you good, whatever. Anyway, me being the person that I am, I decided to still go to the modeling rehearsal, right? Idiot, because I was just no. So I text one of my good friends, Miriam, shout out to you. I text her and I'm like, bro, I just got hit by a car. So now she's freaking out over the phone and explaining, and I'm like, I'm coming to you right now, I'm coming to the building because that's where we were. And I walked there and I went inside, and like the minute I see her, I just exploded of tears. Everything just came rushing back, and I could finally process what was happening. I was in pain all over my body. Before now, I couldn't feel it. Before now, it never registered. Say, yo, I just get licked by a car. Yo, I just got hit by a vehicle coming at a speed, and me, but I never had on a helmet, which I would say is my fault. But I mean, people don't really use their helmets when they're riding on campus because the campus is just this basic thing, like why we need to, whatever, my fault. Anyway, so I was just in pain, and when I see her, when I tell her to start bawling, I was just crying because everything was happening, and then the pain started going. Anyway, me being the strong person I was, I'm like, let me still go to the rehearsal because we had a show coming up. Anyway, so go inside now, and I sit down there with all my friends and people, of course. As I'm a bubbly person, so off rip, everybody's like, what happened to her? Why she's so quiet? I wasn't even focusing or paying attention to the rehearsal. I was just sitting there doing like something else, right? So after that, now I realized like I really couldn't stay. I just wanted to go home. So I went home, and yeah, now at no point did I call my parents, which I don't know about anybody else, but it probably should have been one of the first instincts, right, to call your parents. But I was like, why am I going to call my parents now? It's like 11. By the time everything done, it was like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Why am I going to call them for? What am I going to call them for? I want them to just drive up here. What am I going to do when they drive up here? You know, that's what I was thinking. Like, I don't need to be bothering them. Tomorrow, call and tell them. Boom, next day. So now I call and I wake up and I tell my parents all the things that are happening, and like how everything went, and everything that's happening. And they were like, okay, you know what, still go to the hospital because we want you to at least get checked out and whatever. So now I'm thinking like, bro, I have classes today, I had work I was supposed to, like everything just gets so stirred up and mixed up and everything. So go to the hospital, get checked out, and then find out, say I have some hip and knee contusions and like bruising within my joints because I was hit so hard. So let me tell you something. You see, when I was doing that x-ray, oh my goodness, pain. It was just, as I literally started crying inside the x-ray room, because just moving my knee a little bit, moving my everything, it was just so painful, right? So them check that out. I get some medication. My mother drove up the next morning to stay with me at the hospital, and fine. So now we're okay. I have this big scar which I could not get off of my mind. I have a modeling showcase to do in the next couple of days or in the next week, and here am I in pain in my knees and my ankles, which is needed, and I have this big dirty scar on my knee, and I'm supposed to be like, you need flawless legs. I was so like aggravated. It's just so aggravated because like this just, you know. Anyway, so days go by now, and parents come and talk to me, and we're talking about insurance and money and whatever. So now I say, you know what, parents, can you guys handle this, because I already have too much schoolwork to do. I just give you guys permission to do all the documents, all the everything, because I just have so much things to do, and I was still trying to collect myself from that and still pay attention to all of the things I have to pay attention to because I'm busy. Anyway, fine. We call and we talk and we talk and we talk and oh, how could I forget? So I went back to the police department, right? And I went to go and pick up the report, because on the report it says everything whatever. So I go on it now, and in the report it says it's considered a hit and run, and this is the name of the person, and this is the name of the spouse, and this is their insurance company and everything. So I'm like, let me really Google this person to see if I can find them on the website. Honey, girl, I found everything about this woman immediately. I typed in her full name, I found out her department, I saw her picture, her college email address, like everything was just right there. Like I literally could go to the building that she works in and just turn off and be like, do you remember me? Do you remember hitting me? Like, and then leaving. I just couldn't understand how. Maybe it's my fault for thinking maybe more like adults are more mature, which that I would just think that for her long years of life she would know not to drive away, not to double check and make sure that all was good, as well as to call the police, because this has to be a report, has to be filed, everything has to be done. Anyway, we find out her insurance and all that stuff because we need to claim for the bike. But in my mind I was just thinking, okay, I need to claim for the bike, right? Because I need a new bike and that's my mode of transportation. Anyway, I gave the insurance stuff to my parents and them deal with that. So now in between school I'm having calls with this person from insurance, this person insurance, can you describe the incident? Anyway, back and forth. Anyway, that's just what's going on. Settlement, do whatever they have to do. My parents call whoever, lawyer, whatever, with fear people. Anyway, let's just keep that to the side. That's not much story information, but that was just settled and whatever. Oh, the police department also was like, wow, that's very good that you caught all that information, like even while you're like under stress or all of that stuff. Like that was very good because I made their job easy. Like they could find everything, pinpoint everything. Plus the university has cameras, so you could well and see what really happened as well. I would love to see what it looks like. Anyway, tell me how the police department called me later to say, hi, this is so and so and so. This is considered a hit and run because she did leave the victim, and that is considered a felony. I'm like, and yeah. So then they were like, okay, because you're the victim and of all these things that was happening, you either have the choice of a misdemeanor or a felony to give to the lady. Now I haven't done that much research at that time, but I knew the strength of a felony. Like everything goes awry when you're a felony. You can't vote, you just lose so many things, right? And that's on your record permanently, and you can't get that erased, right? So I'm like, I don't want to be, no, what do? I don't think, I mean, I personally wouldn't want that. Yes, it was this big thing, but I don't know about all that, like whatever. Anyways, I said, okay, can I get back to you, because I wasn't sure. Hang up. And I'm like, hey daddy, so they said I must eat, like I must choose if the person gets a misdemeanor or a felony, like what do you think? He's like, misdemeanor, because we're not trying to damage this person's life for the rest, like damage them for the rest of their life and just whatever. So just give it a misdemeanor. I don't know what the damage a misdemeanor does, but it was a light of the two. And I'm like, you know, that's true. And that was what stupid drastic look, stupid elastics. And that's what I was thinking, like, yes, this was this big thing and I could have been like dead, as well as, thank you Jesus, honestly, God bless, because anything could have happened. And that's what I always think about. But yeah, I could have had like all this other stuff happening to me, and granted I was okay, I was fine. I say, you know what, she already paid her price for whatever it is she have to, and she are definitely she gonna have to pay some enough money to the courts or to whoever, I don't know. But I'm like, you know what, misdemeanor, whatever. Anyway, since then I've had the cut that I just showed you guys of. The pain, I had to take I have to take medication for those pains inside and the cuts I had, but nothing serious. And even the knee thing was the one thing I was paying attention, like I was focusing on, because like I need my skin to be nice and clear. So when I tell you I was putting everything on it and now it's faded out, it just, can you guys, yeah, this is where it was. I've done really good with coconut butter, coconut oil, everything to make it nice and whatever, and I've been better, and my body is still working how it's supposed to. When I tell you, I was just like, oh my god, can I not dance again? Will I never be able to model again? Are my legs broken? Like so many things was just rushing through my head. But yeah, that's the end of the story. I just can't believe the late, it just couldn't, I don't know, it just couldn't click. Like it just couldn't click to me. How could you use the fact that you rode into my car as a defense? Mister, not even remotely make no sense. Anyway, yeah guys, so that's the end of that. Thank you guys for watching. Honestly, God bless, because that was crazy. It was just a crazy experience. I hope you guys like this story time. I don't think I have that many stories to be telling more story times, but if you guys enjoyed it, it was almost like you're with me and I'm just telling you the story. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Comment down below what you would have done in the situation, how you thought you would have felt. Commenting really helps with my exposure, so don't forget to comment that. Honestly, well, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys. Mwah.